Now, first, you get yourself a crusty old trailer from the woods. It's probably stolen in the 80s. Drag it out with your trusty Ford. Then you strip all the rotting wood off and fix the broken welds. You add a headache rack from the side of the road and an old steel lamppost. Paint it up nice with some rust converter. Add some heavy steel angle iron. Cut a hole in the end of the lamppost and build out the top drive. You can see the hydraulic motor there. Little gear reduction. Here I've added a hoist and some trailer jacks. And I've started to build out the sled for the rotary drive. Here's some cheap eBay spool valves. And that's a 6.5 horse Predator and a log splitter pump. Some keyways cut with an angle grinder. There's a view from the back. Some more precision cut keyways. Extremely tight tolerances. NASA, hit me up if you need any pointers. Got this thing from the Chinese. Got an old skid steer auger drive spindle. This was the closest sprocket I could find. I still had to bore it out quite a bit. Getting ready to mount the rotary drive motor. Here I am testing the rotary drive with a 10-inch auger. The bit is made out of 3/4-inch plate with chromium carbide hard facing, and it cuts about an 8.5-inch hole. There's a basic mock-up of the water swivel. The center shaft is a continuous piece of 3-inch DOM tubing. Each end of the shaft has a packing gland made out of stainless pipe. Here's a mock-up without the T, where you can see the packing glands. And there's a UHMW seal to protect the packing from sand. Turns out the inside of a 4x2 T isn't even round. Well, now it is. Hats off to the Chinese. Here you can see the graphitized PTFE packing. Here are the Alibaba tool joints. I'm welding one onto the center shaft of the water swivel. This was all the 4-inch Schedule 40 they had at Menards. This is 2 3/8 structural tubing. Here I've welded on the Chinese tool joints. I did 25 sticks, 10 feet shoulder to shoulder. I used 6011 for the root, 7018 for the cap. Most of them are even concentric. First test hole with the mud rotary. I think I went to about 30 feet. In position for the first well, along with the mud pit. The chromium carbide hard facing on the cutting edge of the bit held up pretty well. Here's an example of some glacial till. Here are some of the washed cuttings. At around 121 feet, we started getting a finer sand.
A few inches later.
Now it's time to make the screen. I wound up doing 10 feet, 20 thou slits, and I used an oscillating tool. Here the casing is set. The last 40 feet or so had to be washed down through the sand layer. Here you can see the washdown tool that I made with a little gauge on it. Here I'm grouting the annulus from 65 feet to 7 feet with some neat cement.